everybody. We're back. We are back. We are back with what is going to be the penultimate episode of this campaign. Due to just a slew and heap and pound of something called life. We took 2 weeks off from this game. A much needed time, and I'm excited to say and proud to say that the Dot Lot raised $670 last week in silent solidarity streams instead of live streams for the Atlanta Solidarity Fund. So I was very excited to make the final donation today, so thank you everybody who dropped by and shared it in that silent solidarity. So keep going. I've already reached out to them. I'm going to keep going. Do the same.
Is there a link? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but is there a link?
A link to Atlanta Solidarity?
Yes. So if people,
yes.
For example, people who are watching right now.
Oh yes, that weren't part of that. You're so right, Trooper.
What if they wanted to donate?
Even thinking? Yes, of course. There's a link. Give me 1 second. Here it is, right here. I got it for you. Chat. Boom. AtlantaSolidarity.org. They use money to pay bail bonds and provide legal aid, specifically in the Atlanta area for people that have been arrested during peaceful protest. It is a great fund. They're awesome people, and I was very proud. Thank you, everybody, for making that a reality and continuing to do so. Awesome, but we're back. We're back, and we were just recounting what happened last time, since it has been 2 weeks. So we just need some really fresh reminders, like who you all are, maybe who you playing, the basics. So we're gonna go around and meet the awesome cast that is back tonight to play some more Overlight with us. And we're actually gonna start out with Kai. Kai, you are first up. Tell us who you are, who you playing.
No pressure. I'm Maddox. I am a Zenith Order monk. My background is Scholar of the Unbroken Sky. And my boo over there is Charlie. And yep, that's all I got.
We're gonna learn a little bit more about Boo and why Boo and how the Boo Boos.
Yeah, tonight
today.
Is it.
Yeah,
tonight is that story.
Yeah, we're headed to Zenith, so we're gonna learn a little bit more about Maddox and Charlie. I'm very excited for that. But before we can learn more about Charlie, we have to actually just go down the line because I'll lose track because I have a mind like a goldfish. You're up, Trooper.
Can I go last?
No, you can go right now because you're in order.
Dang it. All right. I'm Trooper SJP, and I am playing Tikara, who is a Harkeen tomboy, like 13, 14 years old, orphan, and grew up on the streets, kind of artful dodger, who is learning a little bit about how to have a family and how to trust people and how to be loved.
And learning it you are, and learning it in the wake of something you thought you lost, which is a very interesting place to be as a child. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm so glad to have you back.
I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah, tell us who you are, who you play.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio, or DM Jazzy Hands, and...
It's all right. Just keep going. She'll be back.
I know she will. And I am playing Chalitani, or Chali, Maddox's Hamanu companion. Hamanu are a race of ape-like humanoids. Chali in particular looks like a mandrill. She is a teacher of the elements and an all-around story nerd.
Ooh, it's true. And so many stories you have collected.
Indeed.
in your journeys. Yeah, and it fixed itself. Perfect. Yay. Timing. Perfect timing. I'm gonna say this just before we move on. If you want to see the character art, which we now have,
oh yeah,
let's see. You can do so by popping over to my Twitter, where I've tossed some of it up, and of course the trailer the trailer you watched at the beginning also had the new character art in it. So pretty snazzy. And our fallen and somewhat we thought lost Pyroy is back. Jason.
Hello, all. Jason T, D&D DM from Twitterverse. I play the Pyroy Aramis, older brother figure to Trooper's character,
Mhm.
and just a big giant rock person who breaks things.
It's true.
Including
That's-
hearts.
Yes, that's pretty much it.
Including hearts.
Hearts.
So true.
But he recently got into a wee bit of trouble last episode that we were here, and made an effort to save Maddox, and doing so sort of had his Ludo fall down moment.
It's true.
Ludo.
And as oh wait, and I should say this too. I have to say this before we go on because I always forget. These incredible characters can be affected by the overlight. It is in fact this if you heard the intro story, the kind of effervescent light that remains. It is not a sun or a star, it just is. And it passes through everything here, between the shards, every creature and living thing. Specifically connected to it are special folk, I guess you could say. Skyborn. And all four of these Skyborn. Sorry. Great. That's good. Thank you. These four Skyborn, in fact, have been crawling their way from the bottom of the shards all the way up to the top. And as they do so, sometimes the overlight is unkind. Sometimes it is very kind, and sometimes it just is. But you can make it so, and shatter the overlight by filling the bar down there with your donations to the channel. So you can support and make their life maybe potentially harder. And I'll tell you, tonight's going to be the most dangerous night yet for them, as we're going to be leaving Quill. Actually, I have a map for all of you. This is why I do this, so that we can actually see it. Boom! We'll be leaving Quill and headed to the next highest shard, the second highest shard in the stack, Zenith. But last time here on Quill, they encountered a Tyrexian that they were looking for, in a horrid place known as the Crumble, a place of unknown physics and bizarre logic, mass pieces of land and rock smashing into one another outside of the forces of gravity, pure chaos. And here they found him by almost accident, by following in his footsteps, by climbing up the shards. Aramis made a daft rescue to save Maddox, and in doing so fell. When they all awoke after having a dream to see what they could do to find their long lost Aramis, they found out that the Traxian found them instead, rescuing them from what seemed to be an intense shared vision. And Aramis. And as the camera cuts in back to where we left off, he told you a story that you recorded. Goal achieved. Zenith awaits. But as Aramis's eyes begin to kind of creak and quake open, your head, Aramis, aches, pounds as if somebody has smashed you with 1,000 rocks. And your back, it feels a little stiff. And as you sit up from the bed, your companions see that the area kind of down Aramis's spine is no longer just this kind of rocky finish, this charcoal rocky finish. It seems to be smashed and pressed into a series of gems and crystals. lining down his spine. Patches here, some of them protrude in rather sharp ways, some of them are kind of blunt. And the Tyrexian kind of points, recognizing that this looks a little odd. And he said,
I would have been on the same cot with him because I wouldn't want to be anywhere.
You could reach out and touch it. It's like
away from him.
It's like if you cracked the earth open, and there were just bits and pieces that are now kind of almost earth welded to Aramis's body. And the Tyrexian goes, it was a very hard fall, and well, the crumble's a weird place, and Aramis's body smashed with a rock, and when I peeled him free, well, his spine healed itself, welded to the earth around it. Oh.
I am sparkly.
Yeah, you look like a gem shop. It's rather actually beautiful, but also kind of because the natural kind of charcoal tone of the skin also makes it look kind of dark at certain angles and eerie, as if there is scales down his spine or these kind of spiky pieces.
Will they be able to move still? Are you okay?
Yeah, sort of like sit up and twist around and stretch, and yeah, I look over and to Tikara, and I'm a bit stiff, but
Can you stretch?
okay.
Can you move?
As he moves, kind of the loose chunks fall free, the pieces that aren't needed anymore. I imagine this healed just like a wound, right? The scab that kind of eventually peels away, as grotesque as that sounds. But in this case, as he like kind of quakes and moves, the bits that fall off are small pieces of gems and crystals from the stones of whatever is out in the crumble. Until basically what's left is a very kind of cleaner piece. And Aramis, you feel kind of right as rain. A little stiff, but it's probably because you've been laying down for, I don't know, many
3 or 4 days, something
yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to pick at the scab because I'm 13.
It's stone. It's rock. You kind of, it's like scratching at a piece of charcoal.
I'm going to do that a little bit. Just.
Oh, yeah, right there. Look, lower. Yeah.
And then I'm going to just scratch all over.
You visibly see Aramis shiver. He's like, oh.
Scratch all over. Just like, when you just want to make somebody feel better, and like,
Yeah.
that's the one thing you can do. Like, oh, I can scratch your back. And then it's just like, and then I give them the biggest hug.
What happened?
Quite a fall. You took quite a fall.
Oh, it's this one again. That was a very long fall if we got back to you.
Oh, no. I, in fact, chipped your body out of a piece of stone and flew you up here.
Aramis, this is the Tyrexian we heard the story about.
Oh.
The one with the brother?
Gotcha. You're way stronger than you appear.
Just a little protein every once in a while.
I'm going to punch Aramis in the shoulder.
It's like punching a rock wall.
I'm still very sore. What was that for?
You're not supposed to do dangerous things. If you do dangerous things, we'll be worried about you. You could get yourself hurt.
Oh, child, he's a pyroid.
Still.
Couldn't let Maddox fall.
I know, but you're supposed to be safe and be careful, because people get worried if you do things and you're not careful.
Aramis, you can let me fall.
Well, I promise your body would not have welded with the earth quite as well.
Perhaps in a different fashion.
Perhaps. A flatter one.
One little more splatty.
I as much as I'd like to say, and you're all in a very tight space. This is this man's like hidey hole. He's been hiding here for who knows how long. This is a centuries old tale. And so like you're in his little den, and it is rather, and definitely now that Aramis is sitting up, it's a tighter space. And he simply says, as much as I'd like to continue to play hospitality, I would like to know, well, what it is you're doing on my shard.
Well, being rescued by you?
What, now? Before? Why have you come here? I told you my tale. Your friend as well.
That was it, actually, to collect your tail.
Oh! So you're going to go now?
Yes, I suppose if Aramis is feeling up to it.
Do you have dessert?
Dessert? What is this? What a dessert? What is a dessert?
Something. What do Terexines eat to make themselves happy as a special treat?
Now, I have special treat. He goes over and spends quite a while working on something in what is not really a kitchen, just a space. A small table that he both prepares and then serves on. And after a while, he turns around and he shows you something that looks like a rather large potato. It is about the size of a basketball in terms of how he holds it. Oh man, I gotta put these donations in so I don't lose track of them. We're getting donations left and right. Thank you everyone for the bits. This is exciting. Yeah. All right, hang on. Let me put them in. Let me don't. So he turns it around and you can see he's like slit the top of this massive potato. And he says, twice stuffed it is.
With what?
Goodies. And he kind of brings it over and it is, he hasn't put it into like the oven. You can tell he's kind of prepared what is kind of like a clay oven. And shows you, kind of brings it over and it has this, it's like spicy. It's got a lot of spice to it. It's as if he's got like what we would consider like ginger and cinnamons and these kind of very bold kind of flavors inside it. And if you, which I know you do because you do, you peel back the crevice because you're gonna want to see what's inside, and you can see there's some kind of like mush. It looks mushy, and as if he's mixed a bunch of stuff, but the smell is definitely there. And he says, ah, and kind of maybe smacks your hand.
Wait, can we share with you?
Share? I haven't even cooked it yet.
No. Can we have something? I have something for you also too, so we can have whatever this is, but then also something else.
You have something for me?
Yes.
What?
And I bring out the pod from Banyan.
Oh.
We're supposed to cook this in hot boiling water, and it'll make like a drink for us.
Oh.
And there's people in Banyan and also people here in Quill are having wars with each other, and I don't think they should because that's not right. And maybe if you have some of this hot chocolate from Banyan, that will help. And you can tell your people, maybe, I don't know. And then I just hand him the pod.
He now has the kind of large potato in one hand and this pot in the other, and he goes over to the cooking station and slips this potato directly into this clay oven. It begins to kind of, you can hear it cooking. He puts some kind of kettle on. In this case, I think it would, I don't know, it would be made of some kind of steel, like pressed steel, and he would definitely be something that was found off of Quill and brought here, like imported, or possibly, I don't know, taken from idiots that might have been running around the crumble, and
liberated.
He goes, well, do I just drop it in? He kind of says.
No, you have to break it open and take out the seeds and then boil the seeds in hot water. That's what I was told.
Okay. He kind of cracks it on the side of this table, like bam, 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 and rips it open, and quite a few seeds fall out. 8, 9, 10. And he goes, how many?
I don't know.
Okay. He takes them all and plops them into this pot and puts it on a fire on the top of this clay stove. It seems to be cooking, and it takes us a little bit of time, 5-10 minutes. He pulls the hot thing out of the oven. The crack now is much wider. It's like split open from the heat, and it's steaming, and the substance that was on the inside has kind of swollen a little bit, and it looks to have more of a cobbler like consistency now. And he kind of starts like, and he pours all of you glasses and probably wooden cups around, and it's a hot drink. It is tar black. It is unnaturally black in its coloring. It looks almost thick, a void.
It's so black an artist tried to patent it.
That's correct. And then they were successful, and no one else can use that color.
Yes.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. That's what happened. Yeah.
Well, Tigger, you going to try it?
I'll put my finger in to make sure it's not too hot.
It's hot, Goldilocks.
I won't lie, it does not look very appetizing. Just
Looks
saying.
great. Wait, you can drink hot things. You drink it first.
This is
Eris.
what you get for trusting a Vaniari.
No, I bet it's wonderful. I bet yours smells really good. I bet them together will be perfect.
He kind of goes over and brings this again thing over and sets it on the table. Now it kind of it doesn't hold structure quite as well. It kind of plucks down, and he grabs a ladle and scoops this substance, this kind of gooey, gelatinous, cobblery substance that has kind of chunks in it. It's hot, and he flops it into bowls, which are not much larger actually than the wooden cups you have. And he passes it off to you. Another hot. He says, treat.
Do I use a fork? A spoon?
Oh, right. He kind of looks around, and he has a couple utensils. None of them look suitable to eat this, so he hands you the ladle.
Oh.
He hands you the ladle.
Tigger, you go for it.
Okay. So I scoop up some, and there are conflicting desires right now.
Okay.
And one is to savor this, but the other one is to eat it quickly enough so I can give the ladle to my friends. So there's like this sort of competing.
You're so kind.
So I'm going to take one nice, like, luxurious bite of it to have that moment.
Okay. I imagine just like a kid tasting the batter, reach out with this ladle and awkwardly lick some of this hot, gooey stuff off. And it is warm. It is gooey. Is the best word that I can use to probably describe it. And as it goes down your throat and into your belly, there is a beautiful pause in the universe. And then something begins to happen. Your throat begins to burn. It is spicy. And not kind of spicy. Really, really spicy. And without probably knowing it, you have to put your tongue out of your mouth.
Yeah. And I immediately drink some of the hot chocolate.
You gulp down this black void liquid, hoping that it will do the trick. Hoping it's going to do the trick. And as you slurp down warm liquid on top of this spicy hot food, or the spicy hot food, It tastes similar to licorice. It is devilishly sweet in kind of an odd, bitter way. And it washes down.
And I think I'm just in that kind of you know when you're confused because you're like, oh, this, no, but wait, but you're
And as Takara probably again sticks their tongue out of their mouth, dealing with that awkward flavor, you see that the black liquid has turned Takara's tongue a matching color. It's like the kid who drank too much Kool-Aid.
yes,
Fascinating.
it's good.
Well, since you like it so much, you can have both of mine too.
No, you should taste it. It's really
And you can see this Tyrexian is just like, and it's like pecking away at the kind of what's left inside after it has served all of you of this the hull of this kind of potato-like thing. I imagine this is similar to an apple cobbler almost, but it's like a spicy apple cobbler.
really lots of ginger.
It's seeing Tigra's reaction. I'm sort of sitting there and I'm like, I haven't eaten in 4 days, and this looks like lots of fun.
Yeah, it's like I imagine it's similar to like wasabi, the way wasabi burns in that bad way. If you have too much of it, you know, when your friends is like, "Dude, it'll be fine.
Do it.
Do it." And then
And
you're
legit,
like,
I just shove it into my mouth.
yeah, and then you eat the wasabi, and then you're like, "Bleh," and your friend's like, "Here, hot sake behind it." Yeah, that's this situation. And so, Aramis, you, which one are you doing the black drink? Or are you doing the cobbler? We'll call it a cobbler.
The cobbler first, definitely.
Okay, cobbler first, and you kind of it kind of gulps down. You can kind of slurp it down, and you just gotta dump it all down.
Imagine Pyroid just like hot food. I don't know.
Yeah,
like, I imagine this is their thing.
It's rather tasty. It's not sweet, but definitely a treat, you could say. It is spicy, but nothing that you can't handle.
Immediately after like gulping mine down, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and I look at Maddox's bowl.
And then I burp
don't
just
want
like Aramis. Or I try.
Yep, you are more than welcome to it, and I push it over to them.
No, have one taste. One taste.
Mm-mm.
Good.
No.
Aramis licks another bowl clean. It is really
Charlie's
good.
just sort of sitting behind all of you and just like taking little notes on each of your two responses to this, and then sort of smelling it and thinking and looking through and maybe taking a little wedge.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you, oh man, as you,
Yes, everyone, it's Overlight's first food review.
yeah, brought to you by the Lost Trexian.
You're welcome.
Yeah, definitely. You taste it. I would say anybody but Aramis is gonna find it rather intense. We'll say. I think a child would find it a lot more intense because your taste buds are just not developed yet. If we're going off anything that we know about humans, but
I just think it's too like I'm tough. Do you know what I mean? Like and like I'm gonna like.
You're
have
trying
this,
really hard to like keep it down.
but like sweating and like.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing. This black liquid, especially as it kind of starts to cool, is enjoyable if you like kind of a licorice type drink. So it's rather sweet and bitter at the same time. But if you don't get your drink down or you choose not to drink it, as it does begin to cool, so it begins to solidify.
Oh, I get mine down though because like I kind of just I consume everything in a bit of a flurry.
Yeah.
Because
Your mouth, your teeth, everything.
Like weird old gravy solidify or like hard rock solidify?
Would you like to touch it?
Yeah.
Ew.
You maybe choose not to finish all of yours, or you just don't get it down in time. There's no telling, maybe it cools. And as you reach into this cup and you touch it with the top of your hand, it solidifies the way. Do you remember what gack is?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember gack?
Mm-hmm.
Gack it's not Play-Doh, but it's also not like goo. It's some
It solidifies into a non-Newtonian fluid, is what you're telling me.
correct.
Yes.
100%.
That's really gross.
Yeah, yes, it's exactly what happens as it begins to solidify.
Takara, this is in your stomach.
Rose! That's so cool.
Well, it's likely that stomach acids and Tigra's probably not actually in that. You know what? Never mind.
I lean into Maddox. You touch that. Do you plan to eat it?
No. Are you going to try to swallow it?
Yeah, immediately. I'm just like,
Oh, you're gonna try to consume
it sticks for a second, but then it finally goes down.
Yeah, it's like trying to swallow a big thing of Jello. You just really have to wait for it to break apart some.
You don't understand. Aramis is like the person with totally skull a bag of gummy bears.
Ooh.
It hits your stomach, Aramis. Solid.
Because of my size, you guys hear a slightly audible whoosh.
As it kind of thuds. Yeah, kerplash, as Crit Witch says in chat, kerplash.
and I ask our Trexian friend, did you like yours? You drink?
I did not.
Oh.
But I would like to keep the outcome. Can I keep it? He turns his cup upside down. And as he pulls it away, this thing kind of there on the table. Yeah. Welcome in, new follower. Thanks, Sigmar. And he kind of it's on the table. And so you have to, he kind of he pokes it a little. It doesn't Jello move so much. It's a little bit more solid than that. And he says, this is
cranberry sauce in a can.
Yes. It just right out like a mold. And and he says, I'd like to keep this. I feel like there is something here.
Yes.
I don't know yet. I need to spend some time with it. He says, but you're all crowding my space. Don't you have another place to be?
We're gonna save the whole everything.
That's not specific.
Well, but I looked at Charlie.
Well, he says, well, Tikra, to be fair, he is in the pursuit of a particular idea, and I do understand his reticence to want to talk to us, and we did get the story from him, but I suppose you are entitled to know that we are collecting bits from each of the shards for really incredibly fascinating ritual ceremony that we're going to help to perform up on Nova as a renewal of the Overlight. Now, I'm not sure what exactly you Tarixians know about this, but it's actually really quite fascinating, the idea that there needs to be a sort of, renewal ceremony every so often sort of suggests
500 years. 500 years.
Talk about specific.
And they want
Tikra.
my story? He kind of squawks at you.
There's no accounting for taste. Well, yes, they do.
Something that's the most important thing from each shard. And your story is the most important thing from this shard.
Who says who? Who sent you on such a ridiculous quest?
The Skyborn.
No.
We're Skyborn.
Well, I know you're Skyborn. It's very obvious. I mean, and he kind of points at his own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He says, that's not what I'm asking. And the Shatterbar has filled twice!
Oh, boy. Wait,
Oh.
What?
Twice!
What
Twice!
did I miss?
From in what? 1, 2, 3. Thank you for the double fill of the Shatterbar. We will continue our glorious build towards a third one. Thank you
boy.
so much. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna try something new.
I'm
this
scared
works.
now. This is Kai. Kai is scared.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'm in denial, so it's fine. River in Egypt. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Denial.
Well then, Okay,
But
2 shadow bars. Yes.
it was the Skyborn Council people, the Skyborn people. Skyborn.
Looks back over at Charlie, who seems to be the person in the group that knows the things.
Yes.
It was, it was really actually very interesting and honestly somewhat confusing, but it seemed to be a conclave of the various Skyborn orders working together, I dare say, which of course makes no sense at all, but I suppose for something this monumentous, it only stands to reason.
You know. Only a Tyrexian would know this story, my story. None of you are Tyrexian.
Right. Well, there was a Tyrexian there at the meeting, yes, and he did participate in the assignment of tasks.
Who?
And then I described the Tyrexian in great detail. Like, so he had this kind of color here, and then and then he was lost, and everyone thought he was dead, but he wasn't dead. But he's like secret.
It was Tanuak.
Who?
Charlie sort of says, like, just first, yeah, that's what I was worried about.
He kind of takes what's on the table, these empty bowls, and kind of rakes them across and... Ha! No. He is shameful!
What did he do?
All the wrong things, child!
What do you mean?
He has turned against us! She has lost the true purpose of the Tyrexian way!
But I don't understand.
Of course you don't! You're not a Tyrexian! You kind of
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, the point of your story is that there's more than one way to be a Tyrexian. There's the way that your brother talked about your story, but then the way that you talked about your story. And the way that you talked about your story is about how it's important to take care of people that you care about.
Yes.
That it's not shameful to take care of people. That you did this brave thing.
I am not brave. That
Or-
is the point of the story.
I thought the point of the story was that you had compassion.
I sometimes have... And he begins kind of stacking his glasses. You know, he's going to have to wash them. He takes them over to a basin that is not currently full of water and begins busting the area. And he goes, You've been wary.
Can I tell what, knowing that he's Skyborn, what virtue he perhaps adheres to, since it isn't logic?
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure. Let's see. It's usually, a Skyborn is usually rather proud of their virtues or what they carry with them, so they will choose their colors and wear them with pride. But the hermit isolation seems to have not been working in his favor, so that is not available knowledge just right away. So, yeah, roll a... What do you... I guess
Intuition?
intuition, or
Yeah.
I mean, you could choose, if you chose to do kind of a charismatic way, you could ask. You could be bold and ask if you wanted to go the compassion route. If you wanted to go, yeah.
What about a? Since I'm looking for clues around the place more than actually trying to suss out his behavior, because he definitely has something of the Tyrexian in him, which is going to make it difficult to sort of judge based on his behavior.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking for clues, could I do a logic intuition?
Mm.
You know what? Sure. Why not?
Frankly, I'm not going to make that big of a difference. My intuition's untrained, but
That's okay. We'll give it a whirl. Why
There we
not? This is a bizarre roll because what you're trying to do is pick up on another Skyborn. Like, you're trying to read another Skyborn, which is, like, not really a skill that's built into the game itself. So this will be interesting. It's kind of like, it's like two Highlanders sussing each other out. You know what I'm saying?
With 2 Highlanders? I thought there could only be one.
Well,
all right, here we go.
They have to suss first. Hey, 2 successes. Okay.
Okay, so I might have a guess. Yeah.
Okay,
all right,
well, you definitely know based on the eyes that they are Skyborn.
Right.
Some Skyborn's eyes are more vibrant different than others, ones that may tend to be more powerful, or Skyborn that grow in power over time. His are rather simple, meaning that they're untrained probably, and they gained it during hermitage, so it's just kind of like a thing, and they've not probably chosen to follow the way of the Skyborn, or their way is to be here to save people in the crumble, if that makes sense. Like every Skyborn chooses their path differently. And I think Charlie, above all people, would understand the kind of way of the path.
Sure.
So yeah. And based on your interaction with them, you would probably think that, even just looking around this place, that it is probably Will. He's a rather strong-willed individual. The idea that he is strong of will is what drove him to save his brother. Maybe strong of will in terms of being here, surviving, all of the above. So you would think that, logically speaking, and with the craft piece added into that, he has herbs hanging and that kind of thing. It seems to be the right choice.
Right. Stubborn old bird.
Yeah, exactly. He is a stubborn old bird. Yes, that is precisely.
Okay. Tanuak was not Skyborn? He was a messenger for the Enclave? Or was he Skyborn?
He is not Skyborn.
That's what I thought. Okay.
He is not Skyborn. Now, many Skyborn it is... Charlie would know that many Skyborn have studied with him.
Sure.
With Tanuak, the best of the best, and that his writings are used in that way, but he himself is not a Skyborn.
Okay. I must say, I don't know the full history of Tanuak with the rest of Quill and the Trixians, but you, of all people, should, as Tikra pointed out, understand that...
Now see,
there are...
I find something interesting.
I'm always up for interesting things.
And they kind of look deep at you, maybe the same way that you kind of looked at them, trying to read the other person, and they say, you see, he's supposed to be a dead Trixian. So I find it interesting that you show up on my doorstep, almost dead as doornails, sent by a dead man.
Well, there are stranger things than that under the Overlight, as I'm sure you well know. And I also hope that you know that, at least until we are able to complete our mission, not that you get many visitors anyway, but it would make our very important jobs much more difficult if it were to be passed about here on Quill that Tanuak still breathes. Isn't it enough that he's not here anymore to bother you all?
Maybe, but it would stir the elders to know that he's still kicking. Good
To
thing
what
that
end?
This is also a good question. They project their will on others. You look like you have a question, child, but I cannot hear your words. Are you muted?
No.
Okay.
I'm just thinking. Yeah, on mute. But I think you're doing a lot of good things, and don't you want to help?
No, I want to stay on my rock, where I'm safe, and I can suffer for my...
You didn't do anything wrong.
By your standard. But you are not the judge here on this shard, child.
Sure I am.
Well, and they kind of pat you on the head. If that makes you sleep at night.
No, I mean, it can help you sleep at night. I mean, why am I not the judge?
I sleep great at night.
Except you just said you were sad.
I am sad for myself, and the shame that I brought upon my family and my own name Now, I am recorded in history as such a shameful creature.
Maddox, explain to him that he shouldn't be ashamed of himself, that he should be proud. They did a good thing.
Self-healing goes through many stages, Takara.
But we learned the whole story, and I feel like you just told us your story, but you didn't learn from it.
What? Nobody learns from their own story. That's not how this works.
But it can work that way.
I'll think about it. Will you go?
You don't want
We
to.
have no more reason to stay.
Ha! Ha!
You finished your food, haven't you, Tikra?
Yes, but how are we going to leave the shard?
Oh, shit.
Takara, I have a question before we address that. You know that thing you said about mute talking? You should teach Charlie how you do that. And I elbow Charlie.
Mute talk. And he says,
Okay.
okay. Bye-bye now.
But how do we leave?
Obviously not flying, because Aramis does not fly well.
Well, if you
Try
think
though,
I
he
know
might.
how to get off this rock, I might have well already done that. Wings are a very helpful tool.
Well, you're not supposed to fly off here. You're supposed to jump.
Have fun.
No, that's the trick. The trick is that if you fly, you'll get hit by things. But if you don't fly, but jumping won't help us get off the shard. We have to get off the shard. We've taken all sorts of different means to get from
How
shard to
did
shard.
you get here?
Well, we took a balloon from Pyre up.
Tikra, my friend, I don't think he wants to know the whole series. We got to Quill on the back of what's it called? The flying manta ray, but I don't know.
Yeah,
The moth?
It was the
Mistray.
The Mistray, yep. The Mistrays, yep.
Got there.
We'll remember. It's been
We
2
got
weeks.
there.
It's been 2 weeks. Yes, the Mistray, the same one that the Banyari basically
Yep.
seemed to be helping you. He says, well,
But if you have any other ideas, I would be more than happy to spend the time discussing them and figuring out a different way to travel.
I mentioned I'm a hermit, right?
Well, yeah, sure.
But
You
you know
well,
things.
okay, well, once a day, a large sky ship comes in over the horizon and lands yonder. And he kind of points out northward. He goes,
But that's perfect.
you can catch it
Has it-
there.
It hasn't passed today, has it?
He kind of peers. He has to go all the way out. He peers up, looks at the sky.
Not sorry.
Right.
Not sorry.
He looks and kind of figures out where the shadows are, because that's the only way to tell time, because it's about the shifting of the shards, not the movement of the light like we are used to in terms of time. And he kind of looks around and says, well, if I am correct, it will land in roughly, 4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 indiscriminate unit of
Indiscriminate
measurement
bits
of
of
time,
time.
because overlight time is so
A doodiddle.
freaking confusing.
It will land in a doodiddle. 4 to 5 doodiddles from now, it will land yonder over that hill.
Well, you've put up with us for several barrel snatches.
I'll
so far,
tell
so a
you,
few
your
more
bottle
doodiddles
snatches
won't
were
hurt.
much more silent than this single diddle we spent this morning.
Well, even if that's true, these doodaddles can't possibly feel like any longer than what we've already
Oh.
been here for.
I hate a long doodiddle.
Is there a Tyrexian president?
What? A present?
Well, maybe we'll go outside and take in the view until we go.
Have fun.
But is there a president for the Tyrexians?
No.
What do you have?
We have a grouping of what's left of our people.
But who's the boss?
It's a much wiser Tyrexian than myself. One
Well,
that
I think
doesn't have
I-
stories written about him yet.
I think you should be the boss.
Well, that's never going to be the case. I like
Why
being
not?
the boss of this here rock. And he kind of taps his foot, his little reptilian foot.
Well, I think you should think about it because there are some bad things happening out there and you could stop it.
The last time I was out there, I couldn't stop bad things from happening.
Yeah,
What
but
makes you
stopped...
think that this time is any different?
Well, because first off, you saved us. That's one thing. Two, I think that, we met someone, a Tyrexian, who told the story about you and they told it all wrong. And I just think that if people understood, you could change something really big.
The people don't want to understand, child.
We're going to save the Overlight because of you.
That is a humbling statement, but not necessarily true.
It's true. It's true.
Well, if that, again, makes you sleep better at night, then so be it. Boop! And he kind of boops you on the forehead and begins kind of bustling you out the kind of small, narrow kind of entryway of this cave fixture here on this rather large...
I'm right, and
top.
you're going to know it once we leave.
We shall see. Bye now. And he kind of pushes you out, and you see that you're definitely on the interior of a rather large floating rock. Around you, again, the rumbles like thunder. Man, that was hard to say. The crumble rumbles like thunder.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Dang. And so you kind of look out. There is some light foliage like here, like there's some plant life and some trees, even maybe some like outcroppings of groupings of trees, but you can see out and over the edge this kind of rather large rock, and he pointed north. You see that there is Quill again is a rather shattered shard. It is a grouping of islands, and he is very, very clearly pointing to a different island.
We have our rope
We
still.
Jumping again.
I cannot jump that far.
I imagine that at least Aramis can get all of you down. Getting up was much harder than, say, jumping from down to down to down. And when your feet finally land on something, a much larger, more solid piece of rock, the island that you're standing on, you can kind of walk over to, I guess, the edge. As you leave the crumble, the large area you were dropped off at, and you stand looking over this massive precipice. Below is a very kind of green light and energy from Benyari below, and it is... Aramis is right. He cannot jump that far.
Well, they fly. Maybe we can flag them down.
What happened to the Mistray? Just to be clear, not that Charlie has any desire to get back on that thing.
You have a kind of backtrack to the place where it dropped you off, like you passed it, but it was not there.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's not around. It just was not there.
Well,
And you don't necessarily know how to call it, but
sure do not.
I whistle.
You set out a kind of like a 2-finger whistle.
Yep. Just because it seems funny. Like,
Yeah.
Because like she's a kid. She thinks things are funny.
Yeah. You let out a whistle. It echoes out across an empty chasm, echoing between the bottom half of these two islands. And it is definitely rather ear-piercing, and there's a moment and some silence, and...
Then I have to do it again because now that's super cool.
Yeah, you do it again, and it echoes. It echoes.
And I'm probably going to do it more times than I should because I'm a 13-year-old kid and I just found a new cool thing, which is the power of echo. And so I am going to whistle probably too many times for the grown-ups.
Too many times for the
Takara, really, really great noises, but...
That's so cool.
Yes. My head kind of hurts. It's been a long day.
You do it.
I don't know how to whistle.
Actually, in fact, because somewhere out there, this piercing sound ringing out over and over from the mouth of a Skyborn nonetheless. It awakens the Overlight, shatters it out of maybe a sleep that has missed these four Skyborn for many days as they've been held up in a cave. And it reaches out, and this
Rocks fall, we all die. No.
this series of whistles that have echoed out are pinging and hitting something across the way. At first, it seems to be jungle, tall and massive trees, but this rumbling, like an avalanche, seems to have disrupted these whistles have disrupted something. And in fact, there is a crumbling that begins to happen across this massive chasm that cannot be jumped. And birds, smaller birds, leave the trees. And the greenery around it begins to part as something large begins to fall, a slide almost out of the tree coverage.
Ooh.
As it breaks the trees, you can hear these thick vines snapping and popping. And you see that there seems to be some kind of old structure here left from the original Terexian that were right before it bumped into and shattered Quill. Some ancient buildings seem to have possibly been hidden in the trees. And it is broken free and is sliding your direction towards the massive chasm. It casts a shadow on all of you as it begins to fall.
Like when you say a slide, like a cool jump on slide and make it to the other side slide?
I mean,
or
like
Doom? More Doom than slide.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely.
more Doom.
I would say this is like somebody took the massive temple from the Temple of Doom.
Yep.
And pushed it over. And this whole thing's like riding and tipping, and it looks like it's either going to... It is definitely going to hit all of you, because you can tell it's coming over and it's going to cross this chasm. Whether or not it's going to take off this piece of the land, whether or not it will bridge the gap, you're unsure. But the shadow that is towering over you tells you that this building is on some kind of landslide. You disrupted it like an avalanche with your whistles, your sound, and it's coming straight for all of you.
I climb up on Aramis. Real fast.
Onto that shoulder you go, that
Yes.
safe place. You
Yes.
grab tight to that flat shoulder piece on Aramis.
Real fast.
Everybody's gonna get to make an action. What do we want to do here?
I'm going to run in front of Aramis so that whatever debris is hitting their back, and I'm a little protected.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Sorry, I'm going to offer you up for another sacrifice.
Shield Aramis at this point. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say sideways. So you know, like how when like a big thing's chasing you in the movies, people just run forward so the thing is behind it, which seems unwise. So I'm just gonna say sideways, so that hopefully Aramis will run.
You say sideways. Aramis is running what you choose to do.
Yeah.
And Charlie as well. What are you doing?
What is Charlie doing? Because it's going to determine what I do.
I mean, Charlie is she's no what's the word I'm looking for? Wilting flower herself.
It's true. It's true.
So I think sort of I think she might also try to, I mean, assuming it's not going to crash directly on top of us, like we're going to run from that much. If it's a matter of like debris and stuff, she will also try and sort of get between the debris and Maddox and Tigra, however she can.
So let's do this. I'm going to have Charlie and Aramis then roll, since you're kind of being the shield and you're grouping yourselves on everyone. You're definitely going to have to dodge debris. You are unsure if it's going to hit you. You're not going to be able to outrun it. So at this point, it's really just a dexterity and what can you kind of withstand if the debris hits. So this will be a...
Athletics?
This is a might... Oh, yeah, let's do an athletics first. Yes. Athletics from the both of you.
Tigra, what are the, I don't think it's these, but I should have them also written down so that I know. What are the roles that we can use those tokens on?
You can roll I have that up. You can roll those tokens on craft, performance, or science.
Great. I just need to have that so that I don't forget. Thank you.
If I'd rolled better, it'd be different things. But
That's okay.
Oh, interesting. I see.
Ooh.
So that's cool how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, so like Luminous will give you one set, Radiant will give you a different set, and Brilliant will give you a different set.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
What do we say? Vigor athletics?
Wow! A 5 and a 4 on the spirit die. Okay, so
That's good.
take a spirit point. Add one to your spirit pool for the spirit die 4. That is a fantastic success. Charlie?
I'm sorry. We said vigor athletics. Is that what I'm doing?
Yes.
Yes.
Vigor athletics. That's amazing.
And this and that, I think. Let me just double check.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's wrong.
I was gonna say, I actually think you're.
am trained in
I
athletics.
was going to say you're trained in athletics because
Because
Hamanu.
Hamanu are trained in
Mhm.
athletics.
Mhm.
Correct. Okay, well,
Okay.
I will go ahead. Can I spend a spirit point? to
Well,
raise
I'll tell
that?
you this: your teammate rolled the 5,
Yeah.
and you're basically
Uh-huh.
the two of you are working together.
Sure.
As all of you huddle, and you almost like kind of dive out of the way. You miss a piece here. Maybe you trip a little bit, Charlie, and Aramis pulls you in. This building, this ancient temple, this massive piece slides off the side of the adjacent island, or the one across the way, and it smashes into the edge of this one. It tips. You can feel the whole piece of the island tip as things begin to slide. But as this massive building comes down, Aramis pulls all of you into a window
Wow.
as it falls, seeing kind of like a trajectory in light, and the window, and everything around you shatters into massive rock. Aramis's body is able to shield all of you from a lot of damage, though Aramis, I am going to have you take some.
Very
Okay.
Buster Keaton.
Yes, exactly. Might resistance, I think is how that works.
So you need me to roll might resistance roll?
Mhm.
Okay.
I just want to see if you're going to take a lot of damage or if you're going to just take a little.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to take a lot of damage.
I suspect not. Like this, you're built for this. So you are built for this. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's pretty doggone good. A 3. Yeah, no. You pull everybody into this kind of window, this small window set that comes crashing down a huge chunk. The island tips, debris shatters around you, rushing off of the side. You grab onto something solid, Aramis, holding kind of the group together, even in the kind of sliding and tipping, and you're batting away pieces of debris as these two pieces of shards are trying to kind of right themselves. And sure enough, as they rebalance out, this shard now tips ever slightly. And the one that it kind of slipped off of and now touches this one. And they are attached, in fact, by
This building?
this building that has very quakily made a bridge across these two.
Go, 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 go. I say on top of Aramis.
And immediately, like, you almost see the actual physical force of the impact of his large feet digging into the terrain as he presses forward. Just
Well, as you press forward, you make a giant leap. You jump onto what was the side of a piece of crumbling building. This stuff is like, I imagine if an actual bridge kind of collapsed. It's not straight. You pick and climb here and there, and all of you begin to kind of make it across this massive piece of debris, which is an ancient temple, is what it looks like it might have been at one point. Charlie, you probably recognize that first, ancient design, but it does actually, these pieces seem to hold tight because the actual nature of Quill has welded itself around these buildings, so even as it slid and pulled free of the ground itself, it remained kind of in these chunks. And you managed to cross over to the other side, witnessing a rather catastrophic event. It's like I said, it's like coming out of an avalanche.
Oops.
Charlie,
we
are
should
you
go.
okay?
I'm all right. I'm all right. She's very distracted and really wants to explore this temple, but we really have to go.
You can actually, I mean, you had a long time. It's going to take you like 10 minutes to cross the thing. So you would have had time as you're walking to do some investigating if you want to just make like a roll for that and see what you can kind of take from it, if that's something that interests you. Yeah.
If she gets too distracted, though, I'm gonna kind of like put my arm between hers and like kind of like tug along.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, you can roll for that. I would say folklore.
I can do folklore. Yeah,
folklore would be the roll for that.
All right.
And let me make sure I get the right part of Quill here.
If I could do a perception,
Yes,
just to,
of course you can. Go ahead.
to just see if there's anything cool.
Okay.
I got a little bit. There's some fascinating things that I really wanted to spend more time on, but Medic's right.
Yeah, you walk
reminded
across.
me.
So here's what you do delineate specifically. This building was probably a temple.
I don't see anything
You
interesting.
don't
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, you don't know what you're looking at. Actually,
It's a 1.
all right, chat. Do I save their other shatter bar for after break, or do I give it to them now?
Ooh, save it.
Oh.
I'm gonna leave it to chat.
I mean, we are close to a third. Chat.
Oh,
We are
It's
close to a
always true.
third. I'm just saying, if we fill up a third, I can go ahead and use one now. But I'm gonna leave it up to chat while I tell us what Charlie finds first, and then we'll come back to Tikara. Because
is there something I can touch? Is the question.
yes, there would be something you can touch. Chat says, you think on that, chat. So as you walk across, it's definitely a temple. First, it is ancient. This definitely was here and was left standing or was created before the two shards collided. For sure. And
Okay.
you think now so they can worry about it during break. Perfect. And
Gabinek, I like the way you think.
this was clearly a very large temple, and even as you cross across, you can see like where it slid off of the base, like where it actually cracked free, where roots and things had made the foundation unstable. So it was only a matter of time. But the Tikara sound vibrations were what it needed to just quake it just enough. And yeah, you don't know what exactly it would have been used for. Probably most of the Tyrexians here don't even know what this was used for. Their life after that collision is just different, and a lot of their technology and things are lost to time. But that being said, not everything is lost to time. And Tikara, a 1 success does not necessarily mean you wanted. What you wanted to roll a success for was finding something or seeing if
Something
you could,
cool.
Something cool. Finding something cool. Well,
Something shiny. You know.
okay. Well, you
Something
found
kid
something.
interesting.
It's not shiny. But as you kind of walk across, you see there's a set of windows. You all kind of dodge it. Maybe it's because you're at a higher elevation because you're riding on Aramis's shoulder. But you look down, and in this kind of inset window, you see it feeds into a room, or what once was a room. And there is something interesting there. Something that seems out of place because everything inside of this is destroyed. Except for this item, this thing. You can't quite make it out. It's covered in vines. And
Wait. I say as I scramble off of Aramis.
you're almost to the edge. Almost to the other side.
Of course. Like, look, what is that? What is that? What's that? What's that?
And somewhere in the overlight, something shatters. As Tikara says, ooh, what is that?
Tikara, no.
Do you reach in? It's a rather small chamber. You reach in and
I imagine, you know how kids, okay, this is how I would have done it when I was like that age. I don't just reach in, you know, when you like lay down on the ground and you just like flop your entire upper body like down through the hole, and then you reach.
Yeah, and right at the tip of your fingers, you stretch. You can almost reach it. You can see the vines have kind of like bound themselves around it. Almost. Actually, an adult would recognize in an unnatural way. They have bound themselves in protection around this thing. And as you reach in and you squeeze your tiny hand through this kind of bundling, you put your hand on the object and you begin to pull. I am going to need a might roll from you to make sure that you can actually pull it free of the vines.
Okay, can I do might athletics?
Sure you can.
Because I feel like it's me being,
Yes.
gangly.
Or I can take vigor athletics if you just want to do it vigor-wise. Yeah, pull it free. Because you're not really fighting anything. Might's more for fighting.
I can do it.
Welcome in, new
Let's see.
follower.
3.
Let's get some love in chat for all of these new followers tonight.
Hello, new
3.
followers.
You do. You pull, and you rip this thing free.
And when like I can see myself like holding on to one of the vines and just like dangling like in that way that just might make people a little bit nervous as I'm dangling into this.
Yeah. Feet kind of kick in the balance, the way kids kind of can balance on the edge, and pops it free, and Takara pulls up and holds an object, a rather large object now in her hand. And as it's pulled free, Takara, you hold it in your hand and you all see it. It is oversized, especially in Takara's tiny Harkin hand. It is about a foot long and a cylinder, kind of a cylinder piece, and the end has kind of these bits that jut off of it. Time has not been kind, and it looks that between rock and dust and rust possibly, and the buildup of crystalline, that this, whatever it was, is no longer the shape that it originally started. But it seems to have kind of a loop at one end and a cylinder piece and these kind of jutting out pieces at the end. But as Takara holds it up, it's a very odd item.
Charlie, look at this. Look what I found. It's not broken like the other things. Like, what do you think it is? And I just hand it to you. I just give it to you because I give you things.
Charlie, you can roll if you'd like to see if you can figure out what this might be.
I would. What shall I roll? Where's the character sheet? Here we go.
I will tell you this. I would take a logic machinery roll.
Okay.
I would take a machinery roll.
Okay.
I would take a wisdom intuition roll.
Okay. Of those two...
Don't forget, Takara has bonuses, right, to science rolls right now?
You have a token which will give you a re-roll on a failed die for craft, performance, or science.
Okay. I mean, I would love to do science if I can do science, but if I need to do machinery, that's fine too.
I'll give you science.
Okay.
I'll give you science. It'll be a different roll, but we'll see if I can't finagle it through.
I feel like the machinery would be to make it work.
Correct. Which it'll be a
This is not working. Here we go.
And I'm happy to push buttons.
All right.
Wowzer.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
all
Okay. Okay. It's not about the machine. You hold this thing up and you kind of look it over. The first thing from a scientific standpoint that you note is the amount of buildup. The way that barnacles build on a ship, the way that an individual ecosystem, the bacteria in the air and the elements that are there mold together to oftentimes create corrosive environments. That seems to be the case here, but instead of eating away at it, it is attaching itself. It has built up over time. It's almost like it's gotten swollen. And you can kind of scratch away and you get a few layers off of it. You might even dust the top layer of just dirt off to see that there is this kind of rocky, rusty buildup. Some of the crystalline chips away, and as you hold it and you kind of spin it around and look at it, this thing is ancient. Scientifically speaking, buildup of this nature happens over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. If this item is as old as scientifically you believe it to be, we're talking before the shard, definitely before the shard's quill collided with Banyan.
Whoa.
Okay. So this is before it turned into the multiple islands. This temple was probably forgotten when all of the devastation happened, maybe because it was unstable.
Can I poke it?
Sure, you can see the kind of stuff crumbling, but Charlie, more importantly, you begin to spin it around. And some of it begins to crumble off. You hold it up and look at the silhouette of it. If all of this dust and grime and years of buildup was gone, this might be a key.
Oh.
A rather large skeleton key.
Oh. Oh, it's a key. It's such a shame we don't. And I sort of look up to try and guesstimate the time and how long we have. And it's a shame we don't have time to explore this temple to see what this key might be to. But I suppose we could come back. Where did you find this, Tikra?
I point exactly to where I found it. It's a room. There was a room that wasn't broken. Look.
Takara points down. Charlie, do you look?
Oh, yeah.
Roll an
I mean, the
athletics.
ship is not here waiting for us,
Yeah,
is it?
you look down in this hole, but you are not met with vines that are holding some ancient item. Instead, you're met with a rather large paw that creeps out of the hole and like reaches out at you.
I'm sorry, paw?
Paw. Claws and a paw reach out and kind of rip at your face. And I'm going to have you roll an athletics.
So not a friendly one. Not like a cute paw.
that's bad.
That is bad.
You can spirit flare.
I don't think I can. I remember. I don't think you can if you fail. Which
Oh.
one? Success
Which is this is a
fail.
fail. Charlie, your
bits are, but
face,
anyway.
you pull your face back, but this creature rips across your chest. Kind of tearing away at the fur, and it knocks you backwards. This creature begins to kind of pull itself out of the hole. It is, in fact, some kind of rather large cat or feline. None of you are from here. A learned person can very quickly roll if they want to. This would be, I would take folklore for this.
Okay.
As it rakes and stares you in the eyes with these massive jowls, this kind of fur-covered creature.
Oh, nope, don't. I'm very upset
No,
by it. I cannot take time to look at it.
It's like,
It's like roll 20. Give me a break.
It's huge. It's really big, and it's trying to pull itself out of this tiny window, and has seemed to get its latter half stuck. And it's like
probably good for us.
it's clawing at you. Inches from Charlie's feet.
Nope.
We should move on. We have disturbed.
I go over and smash whatever wall's trapping it. Free it.
You want to free it?
Yeah.
Interesting. You come very close. It takes a swipe at you. I am going to have you make an athletics check.
Okay.
I am pulling, well, I mean, as best as I
This is
can,
interesting.
Charlie back. Not that it's very successful, but I'm trying.
Yeah, Charlie, you definitely have taken, some pretty significant damage to your chest.
Sure.
Okay. You come over, it swipes at you, you miss it, you kind of dodge it, it misses you, as it is stuck and it can't like turn 360. It's not like a creature of possession, just a jaguar basically. And as you crush, you kind of hit the ground nearby and it crumbles and it pulls itself free. It now stands on the opposite side of this hole, this rather large hole in the ground, which is slowly crumbling away at the piece that you're standing on now that it has been smashed. It's on the other side and it kind of snarls its teeth and its fur stands up on the back of its head. It looks at Aramis. Aramis, what is your intent in smashing that hole open? Was it to be kind?
I lean over the rest of the party. Do not worry. In my people, there is tale of Daedalus and the ghost worm den. This is very similar situation. And I proceed to just look at the creature, hold up my hand. You are free now. Go.
Okay, you... The ground, like I said, is crumbling. It actually has to back up a little bit as the rocks around its feet are getting weak, and it knows it. Its paws take a few steps back, and it continues to look at you, and it hisses.
Good kitty.
And it backs up. It looks behind how far it's going to have to cross back to make it. It looks at all of you, realizing it would have to make the jump and pass through you to get to the other side. And survival instinct kicks in for it. And it turns, looks again at you, Aramis, and turns and begins running. As it does, it kicks up dust, and again, still crumbling at your feet. Aramis, the ground is getting weak.
We should go now.
Off
We're
you
so
run.
calm. Everything's crumbling around us.
Literally.
Like, let's go.
Yeah, and you kind of turn to run. It doesn't crumble at your heels. This is no action-packed moment, but you can see that over time this bridge is going to collapse in on itself. That Aramis weakened a point, and it was just enough for this kind of joint to let go. And as you all make it to the other side and begin passing now a rather empty jungle, as the temple that stood there is no more, you see off in the distance a dark silhouette. In comes the once daily quill stop for this airship. It is quite a ways, and all of you will have to pick up running. And you run as fast as you can, trying to make it to the opposite side of one of the smaller pickup locations, one of the smaller landings. Actually, if you're looking at, I wonder if I can get a close-up of this. Let's see, because I actually had it in my mind it was one of these. Let's see. So if you are looking at the map, I'm gonna zoom in, and this is Quill, right? Meow, right? That's Quill. I imagine that it's one of these kind of tiny islands over here, because the crumble is on the main island here with the massive lakes on it. So you're looking at like this bridge coming from, this little piece over to this little piece. And as you dart to the other side of this, you can see it maybe a mile across max. The airship begins to land. And you all make it in time and negotiate your way through gaining a flight. Though the problem is, and he tells you that the winds on on Zenith make it difficult to land. Charlie, you would also know this, that the winds, and Maddox too, the cold winds of Zenith are unforgiving. But, for a price, he says he will take you. What do you have to offer?
We're Skyborn going to save the world.
This kind of, much smaller Pyroi. He seems to be probably what would be considered the runt of the litter. Has made a living being a pilot and a merchant of some kind in this regard. And he kind of lets out a boisterous laugh. Ha! Nobody saves the world. Skyborn.
No, but we are.
Well,
We're on an
congratulations, but it doesn't pay my bills.
It's an important mission.
I've got some bits and bobs of value, and of course, as a Zenith native, could perhaps assist you in navigating the winds as we approach. I'm not much of a sailor, but perhaps the science behind the winds are predictable enough that I could be of some use to you, in addition to what small baubles I could offer you as payment. And Charlie does have a few bits of valuables that she's picked up across the shards. Nothing particularly meaningful to any of us.
He goes through one by one, looking all of them over, making you wait. He talks about what's wrong with them. He's not a very kind fellow, this Pyroi. But it's about midway through his rant, as he's just going on and on and on, that you realize, maybe you realized early on, nobody actually got off this vessel when he landed. At least not right away. And as he's going on and on, the door open. And as it does so, you hear a familiar voice. And he says, "Leave them alone." Your guide is here. He says, "You are on time. Good. Get in."
Oh, hello.
He goes, and he says, "You do not take their things." He kind of grunts and stomps away. He looks at Aramis like, "Thanks for the help, man." And you know,
I give the Pyroi one thing.
okay.
One of the little sort of cinnamon saltwater taffy candies from Hark, and I just give him one because I have an extra one.
And you can hear it. It's like a marble rolling around with rocks inside of his teeth and his mouth, and
The hot quince.
Yeah, the hot, and he just kind of he kind of looks at you satisfied, like, well, it'll get us to Zenith and back, and so he it was enough, and he allows you to board, and with the help of Charlie and of course your friend, oh Lord, I'm not going to remember his name.
Tanawak?
Yes, Tanawak. Tanawak. You make it to Zenith, no problem. He sits in almost a silent type meditation most of the way there. You can actually feel the winds pressing against the skyship. For those of you not from Zenith, or that know little of the island, the massive winds that swoop off of the mountains here on this frigid place have quite a bit of history behind them. Most importantly, that they are the single reason that the dark creatures that are basically the foil, the opposite of the Hamanu, it keeps them ground-bound. That the winds are the Overlight's way of protecting people from them, which means anything that tries to fly in here has great difficulty doing so. And it beats and bangs you the whole way. But eventually, you land. The door opens, and you're immediately met with just...
I wrap my little hoodie thing around me a little bit tighter. And I frown.
Well, welcome home, Charlie.
It's cold here.
It's very true.
I'm terribly sorry. Did we not mention that?
I mean, it's really cold. Not a little cold, but really cold.
The cold of Zenith is something to be experienced, not explained.
I'm going to assume that Aramis is warm. And so I'm going to just
True.
cuddle up on Aramis's shoulder.
Aramis,
because
this is the coldest...
You think like sauna rocks.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yes.
you probably steam a little bit from the cold hitting you. This is also the coldest you've ever been. Though your core itself lets off heat, it's like any warm-blooded mammal in the cold, it still stings.
Yeah, I mean, you see the what normally are the bright orange lines in cracks in my skin has sort of dimmed down to a dull red.
And your guide, of course, simply gestures. He says, "There." And you see it. You realize in the side of one of these mountains, Charlie and Maddox would be well aware that because of the natural state of the island, things are built inside of mountains here quite frequently, especially ones that at least can be cleared of, say, awful things that live in the mountains. And you see that there is some kind of temple entrance here. And a figure, large in size, stands somewhere near the entrance, but with the snow and everything across this kind of landing platform, it's difficult to make it out. But somebody awaits you, standing with just a very small lantern, a light.
I guess Maddox bundles up and, kind of gets close to Charlie and starts heading that way.
Yeah. We
I don't
haven't been
really
back
have
here in a
appropriate.
while.
I don't really have appropriate winter wear.
You do
Like
not.
I have like a very light sort of, you know what I mean? Because yeah, and I think that a lot of the things I have already are a little bit threadbare, right? It's like even the things that I have are not like I've got like some pants and some boots
Mhm.
and like like a shirt and a kind of like a hooded sort of vest thing, but I in a pack. But I don't have warm things.
That's very true. Nothing that you're wearing is really helping you shield against the elements. And as you cross this platform, which is 30, 40 feet long, towards the entrance, it is the longest cross of your life, Takara. It is frigid. I imagine you're kind of like a Yoda backpack on him because your like front core is on his back, as much as you can with the crystals now across his spine. But you kind of wrap around to stay warm, and you trudge across. Maddox and Charlie, this is familiar in some way, and maybe it is the walk across, and maybe it's because today the weather is, you look around, not as good as other days. It is very windy and bad. Some days it's just snowing, some days it's frigid, but today is a really bad weather day, and the clouds have rolled in and it's difficult to see. But as you walk up, you realize that this is the temple where both of you held a ceremony. Your ceremony, your connecting factor. And a Hamanu stands at the entrance. A very thin, kind of gangly, really lanky man stands across the opposite side of the entryway. More than likely, they are also bound to one another.
Two questions. One, do we recognize either of them? Let's start there.
You do not.
Okay. And two, do Maddox or I know where the Scarlet Labyrinth is? That's where we're meant to be headed here on Zenith. And
Correct.
we've heard of it. I think we've talked about that, but I'm not sure that I know.
This is not something that people put on maps because nobody wants to find the Scarlet Labyrinth. At least not really. But this Hamanu gestures for you to enter, and as you do, finally, you have some natural barrier from the exhausting wind. And you walk down a cold ice tunnel until it opens up into a rather beautiful temple on kind of the interior of this mountain. Immediately, Maddox and Charlie, you're probably met with those feelings of nostalgia, of nerves, of walking here. But the last time you were here, it was full of witnessing eyes. Today, it is rather empty. And as you cross the space, the Humanu finally speaks. And she says, well, I'm glad to see that you've all made it this far. And she looks at the two of you, and that you both are here together.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Wonderful. I find it rather unfortunate that your next to last step is by far going to be your most trying.
We've been through much together, the four of us, the two of us. I imagine we'll be just fine.
Here is to hoping. I know that you are probably seeking the entrance to a specific location. Her eyes actually dart across to their partner. He looks nervous and very clearly does not talk much. That is not how their relationship works. She clearly is wearing the talking pants, and so she kind of continues and she says, well, yes, we have in fact have acquired you someone willing to take you close enough where you can continue your journey on your own.
That will do.
Great.
Very much appreciate the assistance.
Well, she looks over and she says, this is my partner. His name is Jareth. He is going to escort you. He is mute.
What does it mean to be partners? Are you just like friends?
I would have suspected, since you have traveled so far with these two, that you would have a better understanding of how it works.
What works?
She looks at Charlie.
Charlie looks
Maddox.
deeply uncomfortable.
Maddox, you have not told the child.
We haven't really had time.
Oh, right, of course, you're so busy.
What?
We are more than friends, Tikra, but it is a complicated bond and process. Maybe on the way to our destination, we can tell you a little about it, finally.
Adults always say later.
It also seems rather unfair that they've sent a child to such an end. I mean, on such a journey.
I'm tough.
God, this one.
You can tell that, like, her job is very diplomatic. Like, their place in this is, like, they greet
Is
people. Right, diplomatic. That they do this thing, and that they have a very specific purpose.
Sure.
Their job is diplomatic. It's not the same thing as
They are diplomatic. Correct. Their job is diplomacy, though they may hold
Excellent
none.
point.
Yes, I think bond is the best word for it. Oh, their ceremony was in fact held here. I was in attendance myself, though I was a rather young Hamanu. The time.
Ceremony? Like a birthday?
Where did you find this one?
We should really be going. If the trial is going to be as difficult as you say, we have no time to waste.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, the good news is, on site here we have a rather large entryway into the labyrinth. She looks over at Jareth, and she says, please. I'm sure he will be happy to show you. By the way, make sure he comes back, please. If you know what I mean. And she kind of looks at Charlie and then at Maddox, kind of insinuating, like, this person is important to me. And you understand why.
He'll be back.
And as you walk down a hallway, it is dark here and cold. But it begins to warm up a little bit. This man does not speak. His feet make no noise. His silhouette is that of like a praying mantis. He's a very gangly man. Not as gangly as, like, you know, somebody you may see on Veil, but like he's a very gangly Harkonnen. He walks with a single candle, leading you down a very dark hallway, and as you walk, you see that the walls are painted with beautiful imagery. Iconography dating very far back. Charlie would know that. But actually, I think Maddox would be the one most drawn to this. The choice of color and the way that they are used tell a story. And you begin to notice it and pick up on it very quickly. The story on the left wall... actually, I'm going to have you roll. I'm going to have you roll twice.
Okey-dokey.
I am going to have you roll for this. As an artist, let's see if you can interpret another artist. You roll. I'll let you. What do you think? We can go off intuition if you really want to. Though I think craft would also work. Yeah, I would take a craft for this one. And do we have another point she can use for craft?
Mm-hmm.
We have
yeah,
two,
the
right?
Token works for craft.
Great.
Yeah.
So we can take a token if she fails.
Yeah, because Maddox has a token and Charlie's a token and I have two, and it will certainly work for craft.
Great. So
Any failed roll any failed die you can re-roll.
great. Yeah. So let's get that craft roll. Because you're rather taken by, as an artist, you know when you're taken by another artist's work, there are things that they do differently than you. Their choice of color, their use of line, whether or not they choose kind of a 2D or a 3-dimensional perspective. These things matter to an artist, and as you go through, you notice that there is such care taken, because first they came through and created a relief. They chipped away into the wall, and then they have painted into that, to make it stand out and to be more profound in its and visceral for the viewer. What did we get? I'm not even looking at rolls.
Ooh.
Great. Okay. So two.
If you wanted to, you could re-roll because you got success only on 2 out of your 6 die. If you wanted to, you could re-roll the 4
So you're
dice.
gonna
that you
roll
failed on.
twice because you've got one mural on the left and you've got one on the right. So I will leave that up to you.
Why did that not go through? Oh, there it
Yeah,
goes.
that's nice.
4
She's
on the
slow
second one.
tonight.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
slow tonight.
Yes, she is.
Sometimes Roll20 gets
What will I
tired.
give you?
Mhm.
Well, okay.
Look, it's a mood.
So,
Yes.
right? So, okay. The first one that you look at seems to be much older than the second, the one on the left. It is deeply entrancing with its use of color. And as you kind of pan back and forth, trying to take both stories in as you walk, literally the kid being drunk through the museum that's like, wait, Mom, wait, no. And you're trying to like look as fast as you can. This one on the left, there seems to be a story of these dragons. They're gifting a figure, 7 figures, in fact, keys. And at the end is a black key. Beautiful, more detailed, and left in its own kind of frame apart from the others. And as it continues, it gets darker. The walls turn into icky blackness, as if the artist just stopped what they were doing and started slinging black paint. And out the other side is an image of the shards, a completion, the way that chakras stack in this kind of beautiful way, each of them carved with the symbol of their shard, and as if it is a final or possibly the beginning of a story of the next phase.
Did the key look at all like the one we found?
But the thing that catches your eye is that key, because if, say, it had been through 1,000 years worth of wear and tear, it might, in fact, be the same key that Tikara picked up, lost in the jungles of Quill, held there for who knows how long in safety. From the originals, the first, from the world that was before.
Charlie, do you think that's the same key? Do you think it is? It looks the same, don't you think?
Yes, it very well could be, in which case
I don't know if
he's
that's
very
a
dangerous. Yes.
good thing it's down here, Takara.
Why?
And
I don't
when
understand.
when she says why, Maddox, you point to the other wall, the one that you rolled a 4 on, because this is why it's bad that it is down here. This other wall tells a different story, a localized one to this shard of Zenith. You can see all along the top, as if almost a border, the mountains of this place. All of the mountains. It's like a children's room where you put clouds kind of stamped across the top, as if to suggest that everything that you're seeing happens below the earth. It's very clear. You've heard this story, so you know this story. Everybody that has spent any extended time on Zenith knows this story. Anybody that is a friend or a love of a Hamanu knows this story. Everything in the world has balance. The overlight, the darkness beneath. And so there is a balance of people. The Hamanu, gracious, smart, wise, dexterous to a degree, have an equal villainous species that inhabit this place as well. They are moth folk that are known as the Yamari. Ancient tongue call them the Kiroi. The Kiroi? They are the demons of this place, created from Zenith when the shards split and we were born and the Overlight became. They are the yin to the yang. And because the winds of Zenith are so strong, it is said or believed superstitiously that they ground the Yanari. And after many hundreds of years of civil war between the Hamanu and the Yamari, they took to the caverns of the earth of this shard and have lived there ever since, in a place that is now known as the Scarlet Labyrinth, the place that you are actively headed to. This terrible realm is said to be bathed in a red light, natural from the stone that is down here. And this kind of sick vermilion color is said to affect people. Most of the time negatively. And Tikara, your eyes catch this story. You don't even have to know what is going on. Because the symbols of death and destruction of two folk in full combat, leading to nothing but a matching red splattered wall to the black on the other side. A symbol of balanced chaos, of the way that history continues. Loops.
What does the key mean?
The mute man comes over to you, Takara. You see his eyes for the first time. He is a Skyborn. And he reaches out with a rather thin finger and touches your forehead. And he communicates with you in a different way. This warm feeling rushes over you, and so does images, memories. Memories is a tough word because it's not that it's really happened. It's his memories of the stories being told, of what he knows. And you are enlightened, you could say, in the truth of, or what is believed to be the story of how this world was created. The people before, the 7 keys, the way that we used the black key when we were told not to, and in doing so created a world of chaos, and therefore brought purpose to the Skyborn. To correct and to fix. If it is in fact the key that you hold, this is the black key. The black key that shattered everything thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
Oh. 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 It's not the same one, right?
All right, I think it's the same one.
Very likely is.
Oh. But
The man puts his fingers up to his mouth. No sound. He blows the candle out. Everything goes dark, and you see, not but about 5 or 10 feet from you, this kind of circular red, it's just the outside, this kind of thin line of red light. He steps into the center of the circle. He gestures for you to join him.
I do. But like my little kid brain is still trying to figure out like, okay, but if there's a key, there's a door, like understanding that like, because I think there's some kind of metaphorical stuff going on.
Right.
And
Sure.
she's being a little bit literal and
Yeah.
she's trying to figure out like, well, was there a box?
Right,
Or,
how big does the door have to be? You're thinking very logically because
Yeah.
you're a child, and the
Right.
metaphor of like a key being used is probably a yeah. Who knows? It could be just a literal carving of the key that once was. Like you have no idea.
Yep. But also she's thinking like, well, if there was like a bad thing that the key unlocked, then maybe we're safe now because there aren't.
Actually, think.
Because it's like she's trying to figure out like how the key did all the destruction.
Yeah, there's actually a picture of the key. I thought there was. I should have shown this earlier.
Ooh, nice.
There it is, right there. That's the key. The key.
Before Charlie steps into this like circle,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to grab her paw and just wrap her like around her neck in the biggest hug, and just we come out of this together, right? And then step into the circle.
Charlie will wait a moment and sort of look back towards the temple and the I don't know if the other Hamanu is even still visible, but looking in that direction where she was, and just sort of
Down
shake her
a-
head and step
A
into the
very
circle.
very long hallway that like forced
Yeah.
perspective, a light. You see her figure, the Hamanu, just silhouette. And you step into the circle. Aramis and Tikara, you join.
I joined first because I don't think I get I stepped on the circle first, and then they hug each other, and then Tikara's like, okay, I don't understand something's going on, and she doesn't understand what it is, but like she's getting this sense that something may be bad, like there's something and she doesn't understand it, and so she doesn't quite know what to do when she sees them hugging, because clearly there's something that no one's telling her, and she doesn't know what it is, and yeah.
Yeah, how big is the circle?
Oh, I mean, it's like circumference-wise, 10 feet. You all fit
Okay.
on it. It seems like a platform of some kind.
Yeah, sort of squeeze in sideways to make sure everybody's comfortable.
Everybody's in. It's actually the height that you have to squat a little bit, Aramis. The ceiling here drops down. And as you all finish, you see this mute man reach over and just kind of touch a piece on the wall. He pulls a lever that activates something. You hear the chains and the pulley system begin, and this platform you're on and begins to drop down. You can hear it grinding against the wall. And as you do, you can see the red light growing brighter around the edges. And eventually, I imagine it just like Minecraft, you break free of the floor and drop into a rather large cavern. You realize now why it is called a labyrinth. First, because your eyes are met with nothing but red light. It's almost maddening. These shards are full of color, and the overlight does different things with it when it sees fit or when it is absent, but here there is no overlight. There is nothing. The only light comes from the red rock that is embedded all throughout the walls here. These kind of shards poke out of the ground and some from the ceiling, and it seems to create a natural labyrinth of just chaos down in this area. More importantly, as you kind of break free and it kind of settles, the man holds his finger to his lips and he points up to the ceiling. I'm going to have every one of you roll a perception. Can you actually see it?
While that's happening, Charlie's just going to whisper to everyone, remain alert, and remember who you are,
Perception.
who we are.
Perception. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm actually gonna have to go roll 20 for this one because
Okay.
I got you guys in order. Okay, so first up looks like it was Kai. No, I'm sorry. it
No,
was
that
Charlie.
was from
No, I
last
think it
that
was
was
time,
last
mine, yeah.
Yeah, so you have the 2. Okay, Tikara has... All right, I'm going to let you choose. Do you want the 4 success and no spirit, or do you want the spirit point and a 3 success? I'll let you pick.
Oh,
Because you rolled twice.
I didn't mean to roll twice, but there was the delay.
But they wanted you to have a crit in
Oh.
some way, so you have to choose.
Yeah.
Well, dang it. I'll take the 4 no spirit die, but I want the spirit die.
Okay,
But no,
okay.
I'll take the 4.
That's good because you're the only one that sees it.
Oh,
You look up and he points. The rest of you look up. This wash of red. I mean, it is literally like somebody just like turned on red light in here. Causes you to squint and you look up and you can see the like rocks and jutting pieces where this area has been hollowed out. But it is only Tikara that recognizes that some of those what are they called?
stalactites.
The stalactites.
Because the mites are on the ground.
Right. The stalactites, as they come from the ceiling, some of them are not stalactites. Some of them are massive moths.
Ugh.
Huge, that hang upside down from the ceiling, their wings tucked tight. They look almost in camouflage, very similar to these stalactites that jut from the ceiling. A natural camouflage for anything that enters their domain and their territory. But the good news is, all around you is red stone. You have your selection. as long as you step off the platform and go get it.
I just point up to them so that my friends can see them.
You and the mute man now, or Jareth now point up, trying to enlighten everyone as to what you see. It's still very difficult for all of you. You're unsure. You know Tikara sees something. It's like the kid sees something in the closet, but you don't see it, which is almost spookier.
Charlie's just gonna sort of make a shush sound and get Aramis's attention and point towards the red rocks, the closest little red rock, and sort of, mime.
You mime to like just a small cluster near, because basically there's a bridge that comes off that attaches itself naturally to this platform where this platform meets in this elevator. And as you cross up, there's just like a small a huddling of some crystal. You could just like break off some of this red rock. You could quickly break off.
Great.
But the old man, he kind of waves his hands. He goes, and he points a new direction, kind of down and away, and you see it. A big chunk. It sits kind of off to the side. It's rather large. It is free of the wall.
But all right.
This one will require you to break it free of the ground. That one will require you to carry it, and it is farther.
But theoretically and possibly quieter.
Possibly, theoretically. You could also possibly, theoretically, break this rock free, quietly, and be closer to your exit, so...
Well, I'll sort of look to, because if somebody's gonna carry it, it's gonna end up being.
It's gonna have to be
like
Aramis.
I might help.
It's huge,
but
it's no small piece of rock. Aramis, you see it. You would have to exit down the platform and like kind of pop off of this embankment down onto flat ground and navigate your way about 50 feet or so to go pick it up and bring it back. So you've got about 100 feet total to go. Also, while everybody's standing here... Oh, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What does everyone think I should do?
I could sneak. But there's, I say that, of course, there's no way that Tikra could lift that at all.
It weighs twice what you do. You know what I mean? Like, it is a big chunk.
But still, kid thought, I could sneak. But, there's no way.
Tikra... You are so incredibly helpful, but I think in this situation, we might need Aramis to go get it.
If there is one thing that Aramis is not, it is quiet when walking.
Okay, so what you do is you sort of hold your breath a little bit right before you put your foot down. And then you just...
know how much we're going to be able to train Aramis in your... stealthy arts right now, Tikra.
And just think quiet.
Immediately, Aramis is like,
oh God.
You hold your breath. So where are you going?
You said there were two paths?
There basically you can go straight to the end of the docking station and you're gonna have to manually break rock away, which is gonna probably be loud and a lot more difficult to stay stealthy, but you're not as far from the group. The other option is to go farther away and pick up a very large loose rock and bring it back, which you could do stealthier, say, than breaking rock free. So you have a tough decision here, Aramis.
And I just tug and I say, there are things up there.
I will go get the loose rock because I do not want to endanger you three.
Roll. This is gonna be an athletics, I believe, to just be quiet and to do the whole thing. Let's see, how many times do I want to make you roll? Because really there are two. Yeah, this is a vigor athletics roll.
Tikra, this is really dangerous. If something happens, you cannot run out there after him.
First off, you just read her mind, so you knew exactly what she was thinking. It was there, and you can tell that that's exactly what she was thinking. But this look on her face, this look of disappointment, but also, that kind of frustrates when you think that you're being sneaky in your mind, but you just totally saw it.
I'm a mom. I saw it.
Calm down.
They wouldn't want you hurt, and this is incredibly dangerous.
I see bad things, Mikey. Bad things.
And like she has that sort of resolution, like I'm being told not to, so I suppose I won't. And you're like 90% sure she's gonna listen to you.
Sure.
Oh, boy.
It depends what happens in the next couple sections.
Immediately, Aramis is just like, and then proceeds to go dum 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 dum.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
is there anything you'd like to do to fix that, or do you just want to stomp over there?
What's the distance
You've got 100 feet.
to? I mean,
To the rock.
to that point.
Yeah.
To the rock. Okay.
And you've got to jump down a small embankment to get to it. So about 50 feet out, there's a small embankment that you chop down. That's about 4 feet or so. You'll another 50 feet to get the item, and you got to bring it back.
Tikra, do you like stage whisper to me or anything?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, of
What
course
do
I
you
do.
stage whisper?
I'm like, no, move
'Cause this is
slower.
really bad.
That looks bad. This is athletics, right? I'm like, here's the thing. I'm going to say, wait, right before his foot, their foot hits something like crystalline that would make sound. And go, don't put your foot down.
God.
I'm like, oh.
Can I make an athletics or survival roll to try to better guide them?
That would definitely be a survival roll. If you're gonna try to guide them, I would also take not a persuasion. What is it? It's what is that compassion roll? Hang on.
Inspiration.
Yes.
Oh.
You can inspire them through this, being like, "You can do it. Just stay quiet." Or you can use survival, which is like 2 steps to the right, now 1 forward. Yeah.
I will survive. Oh, as
I
long
will
as
survive.
Maybe not.
as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive.
Uh-huh.
And, if Maddox wants to be inspirational,
It's a
that would
good
be
thing I
great.
didn't hang on to that shatter bar that we were sitting on, because it would have come in handy
Oh,
right now.
I hate it.
Okay, a 2. Yes.
To be like, no. There's a thing there.
I'm
Wait.
going to let Aramis re-roll with this inspiration in mind. It will not add anything,
Yes.
but I, as the GM for storytelling purposes, will keep it in mind as a benefit to you. You can roll your stealth or your athletics again.
Oh, benevolent one.
Nicely done. A 2 is all you needed. You just had to match Takara.
Yay.
It takes significantly longer than planned. From Tikara trying to whisper back to Aramis and playing telephone, to walk him through this labyrinth down 100 feet takes about 20 minutes. 20 minutes of all of you sitting here in this place, trying to walk him through. It is the moment when you are trying to deactivate the bomb, and just please do not wake the moths on the ceiling up. Every once in a while there'll be a crumble and everybody has to pause to wait. A moth may swoop in and join its brethren at the top. Takara holds her eyes and realizes she can't do that because she's trying to guide Aramis. And eventually, Aramis, you reach this rather large piece of scarlet stone, this vermilion color. It's massive and beautiful, dense. And as you look into it, I'm going to need you to roll a resolve check. It is said that this vermilion light is sickening and can often cause mania in those who spend too much time down here in direct contact with it. It is a natural way for the moths to keep people out.
I've actually trained in this. Sweet, thank God.
That's good, because it is tough.
Oh, well, I'm still screwed, but it's...
Did it pop up?
Let's see. Oh, wow.
Nice!
Boom.
Okay, well,
Boom.
take your point.
Astonished.
Take your point. Your spirit point.
Or use it for a free bump to 4.
Or use it for a free bump to 4. That's up to you.
Yeah, I'll use it for a free bump to 4.
Boom, you slide up to 4. This is a super success. There is, as you stare into it, sometimes it happens when you look into large gems, you kind of get lost. You see how dense and deep it is, the beauty of the way that the world creates and crafts itself naturally, and you begin to get lost in it. And there's almost like, maybe it's that gelatinous thing you ate earlier today, but there's a bit of a belch in your gut. As you kind of like belch a little bit, and you're like, staring into this thing's making me nauseous. It doesn't actually make you throw up, but it's beginning to make you feel sick. So you decide maybe looking into it is not a good idea. And you will need to roll a... I will actually take a might athletics for this, but you gotta lift the rock and get back.
Okay. Let's see. Staring at rock, bad.
Yes, don't stare at the rock. That 4 was very good. You know that you do not want to stare at the rock. It will make you ill.
And Tikra is just like looking at their feet, right? It's like
Right.
she's
Don't. Yeah.
yeah, she's concentrating on feet.
So I'll bump it to a 2.
Okay, you bump it to a 2. Aramis is doing great. He lifts this rock up quietly above his head with little to no effort and begins running back, carrying this rock overhead. It is rather divine, in fact, and seems to let off kind of an embering glow about it, actually complementing the kind of veining of Aramis's natural form. And as he's running back, Aramis, did you roll in athletics? Yeah, that's what I told you, right? In athletics?
Yes.
Yeah, might athletics. Yep. It's not the rock that's the problem. It's your big old feet.
Yep.
And you trip as you go to step up the embankment. About halfway there, the stone goes tumbling, and it rolls almost all the way to the platform. It's about 20 feet out. Aramis, there is a rather loud noise as you and the rock kind of... there is a very, very pregnant pause as the echoing moves down the cavern. The mute man covers his own mouth as if not to even breathe. And you hear a sound. And then another one starts. And some kind of strange echolocation begins to ring out from the creatures above. One of them begins to expand its wings, and you see just how massive it actually is dangling from the ceiling. Here, there is no wind, and they can fly freely throughout the caverns at the heart of Zenith. And
instinctually, I just flattened myself against the ground. I realize that may not help at all, but like...
You hit the ground. You have been sighted, and all of them almost together. It only takes one to wake up to wake them all, and their eyes open, red, furious like a demon. And one of them drops free of the ceiling and starts a horde of them in a dive. Aramis, you're gonna need to run real fast.
Can I try to create a distraction?
You sure can. You can do any. This is a moment to do something.
You see me like kind of start to glow that greenish color of my compassion, color the shard. And like it starts to almost like kind of go through my veins as you see it. And I am going to use Exile of Hearts to try to break the bond between these moths and the red rocks. And
interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, do it. Make it so.
What kind of roll is that?
Compassion.
Compassion roll.
Good.
Yes.
We're gonna make it a compassion roll. You're not using any kind of ability, right? This is just like a flat, like you're wanting to.
This is
It
my.
It is a chroma.
Chroma.
It is a chroma.
It is my chroma.
Okay, perfect. Great.
Do I roll that differently?
Nope.
Nope.
You roll.
You roll
Okay.
it exactly the same. It'll have a setting, like on the chroma, it should tell you what you should roll for it, which I believe
Okay.
that is compassion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be like 3 compassion die, and then the other 3 compassion die.
Yeah.
So you just roll.
Compassion.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You 3. You successfully do so. You watch as it's interesting. Color's a thing, y'all. Color theory. As you let off this green light, you said, into a red space, the light cancels each other out. Yes.
It is it's an open test, compassion versus mental.
Oh.
So it says if the target fails, they become overwhelmed by feelings of panic and isolation.
Okay.
So as an open test, you count the highest die you roll, which would be a 7.
Oh.
Well, I think she needs to. She
I have
needs
to
to
roll.
roll her compassion to actually do the chroma, and then there is an
Yes,
open
and
test.
then
I
there is
see.
an open test, which
So you'll both need to roll again. Which chroma is this, Maddox?
Exile of Hearts.
except yeah.
Right.
So you rolled to successfully cast the chroma, basically, which you did, and now we have to roll. So you can do compassion again.
And it says you must reduce their physical dice by 1.
Okay.
And this affects last 1 combat
And
round.
I'm just
I don't know
doing
if
a
this combat
straight
round.
open check against your charisma or against your compassion roll, right? Correct. Okay.
I think.
You first.
Do I roll the same thing again?
Yes.
So it's what kind of test versus mental?
Compassion.
So then that would So then yes, I guess so.
Yeah, you would
It's
you
odd,
would
but
roll
yeah.
it again. Compassion.
Yeah. So just hit the open check button instead. Well, same thing. Is
Oh,
fine.
open check.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just hit the open check,
That's fine.
and
But we can actually no. We can just take that one. We can look and
Yeah,
you
because
go-
it's a 10, so take that one.
10. That's the one you want. You got a 10.
Wow.
10.
I
Mhm.
would roll, but like, what's the point? So I'm gonna just call that because that is in this case considered a radiant success, which means you do it easily with the additional spirit die. So take your point back,
Oh, right, it's
or
11.
you can bump it up to a 6, which would make it a brilliant success.
No, it's just
right?
the number itself. It's because it's you
Oh,
look at
because
the
this
highest
was
number.
the test. This was the
Yes,
test.
the
roll.
open test.
That's the
Right,
open test
so-
roll. Yep. So
Yeah, so they would need to roll their mental, but if they don't have,
I was about to say
D10s or
they're
higher-
not. I don't think that they're
Yeah.
going to be able to.
And I want this like green
Oh,
power.
they did. This is why you should have not asked me to roll.
Well,
Wait,
but
wait.
their highest number is still
It's a
only a
6.
6
Oh, we're
or a
taking it
7
not
with
off
that
die.
4 on
So
the
you're
top.
right. The 10 is.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
The 10 still beats it. Okay, good.
Yep.
Good.
And I want my
That's a hell of a
like
roll, though.
light to kind of like bathe over the top of Aramis, like kind of as like a protective
A
shield, but then also out to cause that panic.
So it's interesting again because color theory says red and green cancel each other out. When you put red and green light together into a space, they do just that. They nullify one another. From we see it in this just vermilion red. Maddox begins to exude this light, but instead of being the green color, which it Charlie, you probably know if you've seen it before, it is. Instead, it is. It looks like the Overlight. It is white and pure, and it cast out like a black and white against this color kind of red spectrum, and it cast over Aramis. You need to make the athletics roll back. These moths begin to dive. You see the mute man. He's waving quickly for all of you.
Okay, so question for you. One of my chroma is Ever Burning Valor, but it's really more of combat based. Can I declare it on this roll so that if they do end up hitting me, we'll be in combat and it'll be active?
Sure, it's kind of like a called roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
Okay, so Ever Burning Valor essentially, as long as we're outnumbered, it adds additional damage.
Got it. So, and it's a
um,
chroma, so you need to roll the chroma for success.
Right. So to roll the chroma, what do I need to do?
So the chroma itself will have a set. It will tell you what to roll. So in your case, what was it called?
I've got it pulled up
Oh,
here.
you got it pulled up.
It's-
So it'll say like logic plus will or will plus might. It'll tell
yeah, it's
you
will might.
will might. So roll will might. That would be the die roll you're gonna put in.
Okay, so
Which your might's probably what, like a D10 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So am I the type of virtue dice? What am I keying in there?
What are you rolling? What is your what's your
The Chroma said might and what?
Will.
And
Will.
Will.
So you would
Yeah,
put
so
your
just
will
put-
die
yeah.
into the
So
second.
yeah.
So just do will die.
Mhm,
So what do you have? What's your might
10 D10
and your will?
D6.
So then
So
you
it'll
put
be
D6.
10, 3, 6.
10, 3, 6. Yep.
Okay.
Yay for figuring out how to make Roll20 work for us digitally.
Oh my god, this is horrible.
Ugh.
Well, the good news is you already have a shield around you. So the
Mhm.
Chroma tries to reach out, but Aramis, maybe you even peek over your shoulder. This swarm
That was a
of
mistake.
massive creatures interrupts your drawing from the overlight. More importantly, there is no overlight down here to draw from.
Mm.
This is a dark place, and you have just even attempted to look into one of these crystals, which is also a very difficult thing to do, and you're in full-on fight or flight mode at this point. And unfortunately, the Chroma does not succeed, but what it does do is allow you a chance to actually... Well, no, that was your turn. So, but Maddox is shielding you at the moment with whatever this embering light around you is, this white light. And as you run, so I'm going to have you make the athletics check now. They are going to dive.
Oh. For the record, I just want you to know that Tikra does that thing where you can tell she's about to run out there to try to save him and like takes one step, but the words of Maddox rings in her ears.
I was about to say good, because the man
she
is going to grab
doesn't-
you if you do.
Like she makes that
Yeah, so
step,
was
but
I.
she doesn't. She stops herself, and you can tell it's because Maddox told her that she shouldn't, and she probably never listens to people ever, right? Because
Right.
she's never had to. But she listens to Maddox in this moment,
Oh,
even though
3-3.
you can tell she doesn't want to.
And Tikara goes to take a step, but you see Aramis gets up on his feet. He daftly, like, I imagine the way a linebacker, or somebody scoops up a free, I don't know, sports ball of some kind that might be lying about that I don't understand. Scoops up a free sports ball and begins running, but it's this massive rock. And Aramis scoops it up with one arm and begins trudging towards all of you as this swarm of these terrifying, like, demon moths, basically, swoop down in a horde. Aramis is ahead of them, but not for long. And you see that some of them begin to break off, and they see this device here and head towards the very large chains that make the device work. The very frail man, Jareth, sees this and panics. As Aramis gets closer, Aramis, you're almost there. You've hit kind of the landing dock area. You're up. You throw the rock up and over. You're running. The old man, or this gangling man, pulls from his neck, from his chain, a whistle. And he looks at all of you, and he flips the switch. Gears begin going in motion. Aramis, you're going to need to continue to run to actually make the jump. He jumps down and bolts out past you, Aramis.
Oh no.
And runs into the open area. You see him drop off the embankment. And he blows into this whistle. For those with keen hearing, you realize this is more like a dog whistle. Perfect for, say, calling something that uses echolocation. And he begins running as he's blowing in it. And it draws the attention of this horde of moths as he runs out and into the labyrinth. They trail behind him, giving Aramis a moment. Aramis, you're going to need to make one more athletics check to catch the elevator that has already started to ascend.
Okay.
Charlie, grab him.
See this athletic check and then I'll.
Yeah.
Rolls have been fun tonight.
The good news is you do have a
Okay.
shield
I'll
around
I'll
you.
spend
A
the 3.
Yeah, bump it
I'll
up to
do
3.
3. Yeah.
Plus, I'm gonna let you
Well-
bump it up one more time.
No, it's only odds, right? You can only bump on odds.
Yeah, so you get a spirit point.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you
that's
get a
But
spirit point
wait,
message
wait,
too.
wait.
But it
it-
sounds like, yeah.
But if he chooses to bump it, I'm going to match because of the shield of love that Maddox has put
sure.
around
there you go.
Aramis
Okay.
Yeah,
to,
sure.
to
Yay.
actually make it a 4, which would make it a success worth taking. So this man bolts past you. Your hands are not free to stop him, Aramis. All you can see is Takara's face of fear and terror. You run like the Dickens, and you toss this large rock on and jump up behind it as this platform rises, only feet and moments before it enters the cavern that seals it off, protecting all of you. And you shed into darkness as you hear the silent, or you can't hear the silent screams, as silent screams ring out into the underbelly of the Scarlet Labyrinth.
No, no, no.
And as you ride to the top, only the sound of gears and chains meet you. This rock, now out of its natural habitat, I guess you could say, or underground, doesn't glow the same way, but it does let off this kind of red embering light. Tikara, it is twice the size of you, and beautiful.
I just keep looking to see if we can find the person who tried to help us. You know, it's like that wanting to look at, I imagine there's that little gap as it's closing.
And you try, and all you can see is this swarm of moths, just like, and they're tearing something up, as if a swarm of bees. But the distraction you needed to leave. And as the elevator creeps atop and settles itself, the red light once again, the only circle. And down at the end of a very long hallway, forced perspective, you see in an opening, in silhouette, a Hamanu, the same one who greeted you, as they stand there waiting for your return.
Charlie, just without looking at either of you, just says, Aramis, take the stone and Tikra and find somewhere where we can spend the night. Any of the monks here will be able to point you in the right direction. Maddox and I need to speak with her alone.
Don't
You're
look
not-
straight at it, Badrock.
You're not going to leave us, right? You're not going to be in trouble. You won't be arrested. They won't put you in prison.
We'll be back. We'll be back. Just go with Aramis, Tikra.
And Tikara and Aramis. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just don't be put in prison. You have to come back.
Tikra, go with Aramis.
Oh.
I just climb up on Aramis.
And the seriousness, a child, finally seeps in. It sinks in for you, the seriousness of maybe the situation, though you don't entirely understand, Tikara. The bond, that kind of bond. And as you all leave, the Hamanu makes space, and Tikara and Aramis, you make your way with this rather large rock back across a very cold bridge to an airship that is warm and waiting. We see the door close up as the camera pans back to Charlie and Maddox standing there across from this Hamanu. And she says, well, it went well?
No.
But you got the rock.
Do we know her name?
She did not give you her name.
Would we know it from... I mean, she said she was at our ceremony, so do we know her, or is she...
She may
was just
serve this
there.
temple. She may have been just
Okay,
part of the
okay,
body
okay.
of people witnessing. She did say she was younger, so maybe she was a trainee, and it could have been witnessing you're really not sure. But she did not necessarily give her name.
God, Charlie doesn't know what to do. I mean, she just wants to get her somewhere where she can sit down, because the fact that she doesn't already know what happened probably means horribly that he's still alive.
Possibly, yeah, to some degree. And I mean, you would know this is a temple. There are plenty of places to sit. There are meditation chambers and gathering chambers, and just this room in itself would be fine and a suitable place. There are kind of stone benches along the walls that are carved in. And maybe you do both take her over. She seems rather confused. She says, tell me.
You must prepare yourself.
Where's Jareth? Where is he? Where is he? She kind of stands then. She doesn't even wait on you to say anything. And you hear her feet carry her heavily down this hallway all the way to the end. And she lets out a scream. Not of terror. Not of... but of sorrow and pain. And then wailing of a weeping folk who has lost a part of themselves, a half of who they are.
Presumably there are others serving the temple here.
Of course.
So we need to find someone who can, this doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yes, it does.
And so we need to inform someone, because while there's nothing that can be done to
Right.
to help her, at the very least, we can,
And as you walk away, the wailing continues. It grows quieter, but no less vigorous or passionate. Both of you would know a structural layout, maybe could look for someone, and you very quickly find someone in charge, another Hamanu who serves this temple as a keeper of some kind. What, you don't know. And they say, this is a sad day for all of us. We will send for someone to care for her. It'll only be a period of time before she too passes.
There is no point in telling her he died bravely.
There's always
died.
a reason to tell someone, especially if they died bravely.
But it won't change anything for her.
It may not.
He will be gone.
But a story, a legacy now lives on for him and what he has done for you.
But that doesn't change anything for her.
It does not.
I'm going to lay my hand on Charlie's shoulder. It doesn't change what's going to happen, but it's peace.
Would you ever find peace if I were gone?
No.
Nor would I.
Nor any of us would. But it is the bane of the role we choose to accept and the bond we choose to bear. This seems like a rather old Hamanu. Wise. He kind of a little hunched back. He's older. He grays around the edges. His fur is this umber red. Just probably at one time was very, very attractive Hamanu. Charlie, you would think. Now age is a thing, and it happens. But I would say that both of you knew that when you accepted your path. Your bond.
Don't tell me you don't remember. Ours was different.
It's true. But my mind is, of course, a little rough around the edges these days. Kind of laughs, and he says, I should not laugh in the wake of such sorrow.
It makes no difference.
It is your job as a Skyborn to make a difference. You could have walked out without coming to tell me anything, without feeling for her. But you didn't, because you are a Skyborn, and you are not like the other folk. Every choice we make makes a difference, Charlie. I hope you got what you came here for.
did that, at least.
Then know that his death is not in vain. For it is my understanding you are on a rather brave mission. I have never been to Nova. It is a mysterious place. One even outside of our logic and knowledge, Charlie. Today, we will mourn for her this evening. You will have safe housing, of course, if you'd like to stay.
We should be going.
Charlie, I know you are ruled by the logic of the world. Many of us are. There is no logic in death. It cannot be reasoned. It cannot be changed. All we can do is accept it. The two of you have been given a great gift. For it could have been one of you. Now you as Skyborn can continue forward on a journey that is said to keep more than just one person safe. Find your logic in that, Charlie. We will see you in roughly an hour. We will have some food prepared and some warmer clothing. The child's going to freeze to death. And he walks out to go deal with the wailing Manu, the one who grieves and will probably grieve until they too pass that deeply connected to their partner.
How do you do it, Maddox?
Do what, Charlie?
You've taught me kicking and screaming sometimes so much about the green light of compassion. How can you hold that at times like these? Even the cold blue light of logic doesn't bring much comfort, but compassion makes it so much worse.
It hurts. It hurts worse. It shatters. But then when it's good, it's worth it, and it's bright, and it's light, and it's love, and it's you, and it's color. But yeah, when it's bad, it hurts.
And as Maddox talks, a little bit of the green ember, that passion, that compassion, that saved the man earlier. Oh no, there we go, sorry. The compassion earlier that Maddox used to shield her friend still lingers. Just a little waft around the edges, and as she tells Charlie about this, about compassion and love and life, that balance again, that yin and yang, the literal metaphor of this place, this shard. The camera will pan out. You're provided with food and lodging. She dies in the night, in her sleep. And as you all wake the next day, the skyship awaits you, waiting to take you to the top of the shards, to a place that most people dare not go, not because it is dangerous, because it is mysterious. The shard of Nova, closest to the Overlight, basking 100% in the glow and the ember of an unknown power and entity. But we'll have to learn more about that next time because we're out of time. We're out of time. Almost literally out of time because next week, everybody, is our finale
Oh my goodness.
episode. It is our finale episode. Wow, what an impactful session, which we're going to talk more about in the after show, which if you'd like to get your hands on, you can do by joining the Patreon. I'll drop a little
Do
link
it.
here. The Patreon is really right now how I'm able to pay the cast and make these shows happen. So if you would like to support the Dot Lot more, if you'd like to see more of this content, if you'd like to just be bigger in the community and get more info on this cast, this show. Like I said, the after shows are there as well as a lot of other fun things. So you can go check that out. But let's go around. Let's meet this incredible cast. And you guys tell us what you're up to when you're not here on Wednesdays. And we're going to go backwards, which puts us at Jason first.
Yeah, Jason T. DNDM from Twitterverse. I had some bad rolls. Wow.
It's okay. It happens. You also had some really good ones, so.
Thankfully, Maddox saved the day, so that worked out well. But I was expecting total disaster with the moths.
It could have been total. It really could have been total disaster, but, you know.
It'll be interesting to see Aramis's reaction to a place with so much light. It'll be really odd for him. Coming from Pyre, and it's just.
I don't think any of
place...
you have ever seen a proper desert either, which is what Nova is. It's a desert planet. So that'll be very interesting too. It'll be a brand new, none of you are prepared for desert. Yeah. Where can we find you when you're not here, Jason? Oh, I should.
Mainly on Twitterverse. My Twitter account has become extremely political, as I think that we should definitely be using our platform to speak out against the injustices in the world right now. I've got a lot of friends affected by it. I've been to 15 plus protest marches, and I am going to actually be donating all of what I make on the stream to charities that help fund the push against the injustices in this world, particularly those against Black lives. So Black Lives Matter, y'all.
They do.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. I actually think the cast was chatting about donating their portion of funds tonight that were received as well. So we'll chat about that, and I will obviously make that happen. Yes, thank you, Jason. Eugenio.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio, DM Jazzy Hands at DM Jazzy Hands on Twitter. I'm the DM and producer of an actual play 5e D&D podcast, The Last Refuge. You can find us on Twitter at DND Last Refuge. And I occasionally stream to my channel here on Twitch, DM Jazzy Hands, Thursdays and Fridays, usually at 2 p.m. And for the rest of this week, and I have to see when I put my deadline, but anyway, for the next several streams that I do, I'm also part of Cypher's Nat 20s, Tanya DePass's incredible team that's raising a lot of money. Not me, but the team as a whole, a lot of money for the Bail Project. So hop on by tomorrow. I'll be live and soliciting your dollars for that. And of course, give if you can, signal boost if you can't, whatever. Yes. We all understand it's a very weird time for all of us to be soliciting donations with everything else going on in the pandemic and unemployment. So we all understand that not everyone can give of the same types of your resources, whatever those are. But do your part, spread the word, do what you can. Yes. Not just to my channel, but to all of that team that's raising that money. And yeah, that's me.
Nice. Trooper. Are you muted? I think you're muted.
I am.
Okay.
I am muted.
Okay.
I'm Trooper SJP, and I love this show. And you can find me at TripperSJP on here at the Twitch, where I do the things. And yeah, take care of each other, everybody. That's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
And take care of yourself.
One of the
and-
rules of the dot lot is be excellent to each other. Be excellent to each other, people. If you don't like
what I
that
would
rule, you
say.
can piss off.
Be excellent. Like, be
Yeah.
excellent
Because
to
it's
each
a
other.
great line. It's from a great movie, and it's a great
Yes.
way to live your life. Be excellent to each other.
There's a new movie coming out.
There
for
is.
that.
There is.
Yes, the trailer hit and
Yes,
it looks
it-
amazing.
Yes, it does. Okay, that's
And
all.
I will also say be excellent to yourself. It's a hard time.
Yes.
Do the things you need to
Yes.
do to be kind to yourself as well.
Yes, very much so. Where can we find you? Did you already say that? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay, great, perfect.
I did.
I
I
got
said
got
it.
sidetracked with Bill and Ted. And Kai, where can we find you when you're not over here on the dot lot?
Stonefly_Kai on pretty much every social media platform. And I just kind of want to reiterate what Eugenio said. Money is not the only resource. Your time, your voice, retweets, likes, educating yourself. Just find a way that you can
Correct.
use your own resources. So I just want to voice that again.
Yep. Fantastic. I dropped links in chat, everybody, so go check out, if nothing else, their Twitter, and you can find more information. I'm guessing there, mostly about where you can find them doing other things. I want to thank everybody so much for being here tonight. An interesting and very kind of touching episode. We may not know all the details, but I think we learned a lot more about Charlie and Maddox's connection, which I have a feeling we're going to end up talking about in the after show. So again, if you want access to that, that'll pop out here in the next couple days over on Patreon. And I think we're going to get going. So remember, be excellent to each other. Be excellent to yourself. And put out...
I'd say one final thing.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry. Also, if you're out there in the gaming community and you're trans, and you're feeling really shitty about what went down today, my DMs are always 100% open. Just message me. We can talk through it. I promise you.
Yep. Remember to, if you really just need a community, the dot lot is that. And we have a Discord where you can come chat. There's a void. I've had to yell into it multiple times over the last couple weeks. Please do so, and know that it's a safe place. If you do need somewhere to just kind of go and hang out, we'll be there for you. Cool. I'm Dot, y'all. You can find me online as Little Red Dot. This is the channel that all of you so graciously allow me to keep running, where we get to tell stories and we get to roll dice and we get to make an impact. So I will let you all know, I guess next time, what we end up donating back to the Atlanta Solidarity Fund, or if there's a different charity the group wants to donate their funds to. So thank you all so much, and we will see you next week, same dot time, same dot channel, right here for the finale of Nova and Overlight campaign. Bye, everybody.